路上可曾见到那些无主的孤魂？灵运不散，浮于空中。唉，可惜你的葫芦不中用，我这葫芦又认主。哎呀，哎，我有一法，可超度孤魂，归拳反真，与你必有帮助。这才像样，不能装天，却可渡人。荡去痴念，早入轮回。继承天命，自是无法回头。你我无非都是这茫茫天地间的蓬草，能往何处去呢？盛景一宿，以彼存之。你已在路上，又如何能停下脚步？只管任性向前，你我还会再见。盛景一宿，你已在路上，只管任。
fungaling. As mountain rain kiss the ground, youthful green is all around. In her virtue's quiet display, even Gyas in the woods repay. In the highland bounds, there lived a widow and her girl, left to fend against the harsh days alone. The mother sold pancakes in the nearby village. The girl gathered firewood, ground grain, and cooked meals, shouldering her share of the family's responsibility. Ceaseless rains had worn down the woodshed, long neglected without a man's hand. The beams rotted and the roof caved in. One day, the girl found atop the ruins a gleaming mushroom, vibrant and capped like a bowl, dew dancing on its surface, a spark of life too precious to pluck. She sheltered it with straw, letting it thrive in peace. Laden with tasks, the girl had no time to play with other children. All her secrets and dreams she whispered to the mushroom, as if it were a dear friend. The toils of life led the widow into illness, urgently needing money for medicine. After discussing it, the widow and her daughter decided to sell their house. A wealthy neighbor, who had once been close to the widow's late husband, expressed interest in buying the house. However, this neighbor was very stingy and tried to exploit the widow's illness to lower the price. They spread various rumors to scare away other potential buyers, bullying the helpless widow and her daughter. Worried and anxious, the girl often hid in the woodshed to cry. The mushrooms witnessed all her grievances. The next day, something strange happened at the neighbor's house. Overnight, mushrooms had sprouted all over their property. When the neighbors ordered their servants to clear them away, they discovered a large, eerie mushroom, about a foot tall, neither green nor yellow, growing on the main beam. When they tried to cut down the mushroom with long-handled sickles, it suddenly rose into the air, opened its cap like a fishing net, and floated above them. It shook itself and then fell onto the man of the house, crushing him to death. The air was filled with countless spores the creature released, knocking everyone to the ground. Afterward, the mushrooms crawled out of the ground, transforming into many gyais. They helped the widow and her daughter pack their belongings and leave the village, disappearing into the mountains. A noble fate's vengeful breath binds the bones of snakes and death. A soul mistreated here to stay, resentful will blown astray. In the village of Shaded Heights, there lived a young man, orphaned and impoverished, constantly mistreated by his fellow villagers. One day, hunters from the village discovered a strange cave in the mountains, emitting eerie sounds that sent shivers down their spines. Too afraid to enter themselves, villagers pushed the young man in to investigate. Lost in the darkness, he stumbled and fell from a cliff, crying out in agony. Believing the cave harbored a fearsome gyai, the villagers abandoned him and fled in terror. Sitting at the bottom, the young man wept bitterly. Amidst his tears, he heard the sound of bones snapping and rustling of movement. Startled, he fell silent, only to hear footsteps approaching. Filled with fear, he yelled, "Stay away! I am an orphan and burdened with misery. My flesh is lean feasting on me won't do any good. Suddenly, as soon as he spoke, the footsteps stopped. Time passed, and within the darkness, hunger gnawed at the man's senses. Despairingly, he pleaded, "There's no one coming for me. Devour me quickly, so I may have a merciful death." Then the footsteps resumed, inching closer. Terrified, he assumed his end was imminent. Yet, to his astonishment, he felt a piece of cloth gently brushed against his face. Reaching out, he realized it was a sleeve, which he grasped firmly. The sleeve guided him to stand and led him through the darkness until they found the cave's entrance. As the daylight bathed them, the young man finally saw what had been guiding him: a skeletal serpent gyai. Seeing the young man startled, the gyai suddenly extended its neck and swept him out of the cave. Afterwards, the young man was saved by passing merchants and departed from the village with them. From then on, his life gradually improved and prospered. As the saying goes, misfortune may be the harbinger of fortune, and fortune may conceal misfortune. While not an absolute truth, when events reach their peak, change becomes inevitable. From change, opportunities rise, and the lowest valleys often reveal the clearest paths. BOI Gulang. Wrinkles on his skin so snug, a whiff of air, a fishy hug, legs that spring to heights above, from the dirt and muck they love. In the lands west of Blackwind Mountain, within a kingdom named Hami, stood a small town. Every day before dawn, a humble market would gather just outside the town gate. It was a place where peddlers exchanged goods, while waiting for the gate to open. But due to the prices, even the townsfolk began to participate. Thus, this market gradually gained its reputation. A few months ago, an odd oil peddler arrived at the gate. Garbed in robes of a pearly turquoise color and with eyes that gleamed like copper bells. He had a voice that rang out like a boom, and his breath was foul and pungent. Yet, he happened to be a keen talker, and naturally was disliked by everyone. The oil he produces, on the other hand, was sought after by everyone. Who would not prefer the oil clear and smooth, and not to mention its price? One could exchange but a pinch of fragrant powder for a large gourd of such oil. One day, a wandering Taoist passed through the town and decided to visit the market. He enjoyed his experience until he sensed an eerie green mist emanating from that old peddler. A gyai, no doubt. The monk chanted, and before the peddler could manage a decent struggle, it revealed its true form, a green-skinned giant frog. The bystanders were startled and grabbed whatever they could use to attack it. The frog kicked the ground with both legs, leapt higher than a tree, and swiftly fled toward the mountains. In pursuit, the folks arrived at the marshes, where they witnessed countless small frogs, scraping mucus from each other's bodies, collecting it in a large barrel. Then they applied fragrant powder to themselves, hugging and sniffing each other in sheer delight. Silently, the people approached and peered into the barrel. The mucus inside gleamed with clarity, just like the oil they had favored. At the sight, they were occupied by bouts of nausea and began to vomit. None had the strength to pursue and kill you guys. All the frogs noticed this and hastily fled, leaving the marshes filled with a rather unique scene.